Hello, everyone, and welcome to our inaugural Masks of Nyarlathotep campaign. We're back again, and today I'm joined by Ed,
Hello.
Luke,
Hi.
Andy,
Hello.
and Joe.
Hello.
So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this, and let's get on with it. So, to start, then, I'm going to take you all over to Peru. So, essentially, everyone has been traveling to Peru after seeing a particular article within the papers. There has been discussions around an ancient pyramid, and it seems like an explorer by the name of Augustus Larkin is looking for people to join his expedition, and that is currently happening in Lima. So after everyone applying, you each individually have a telegram arrive to your house. And I'll just add this into your diaries. So it thanks you for joining the expedition, and it asks you to travel to Lima, and that you've been booked in to Hotel Maui, and he wants to meet you at 7 p.m. on the 18th of March at Bar Cardano. And it's from Augustus Larkin, the person in charge of the expedition himself. For the sake of brevity, each of you managed to travel from your various locations, some of you taking over a month by boat to get to Peru as you travel all around past Brazil and up the other side to get to Peru. And it is on, after sort of a day's rest, you managed to sort yourself out to go and get to Bar Cordano on the evening of March the 18th. Okay, so the bar itself is quite a nice traditional bar. It's pretty tastefully furnished upon arrival. It's got nice wood paneling, and the fixtures are similar decor, and it's quite a tiled floor. And as you sort of enter the building, a real smell of seafood hits your nostrils. It's busy. There are a considerable amount of people talking, and particular note of interest to some of you, there's alcohol here, and some of which you haven't seen in a considerable amount of time since Prohibition came in. So I'll start from top left to bottom. So, Robert, could you describe yourself entering and coming to the bar?
Yeah, I'm kind of standing out a little bit in this fact that I'm guessing that we're in Peru and everybody's in very light clothing. My guy has his tie kind of properly done up and fastened in, his full three-piece suit on. He kind of comes through the crowd trying not to bang into anybody, and acknowledging people if they catch his eye. And he kind of walks up to the bar, orders himself a drink, and asks where he may find Augustus Larkin, to the bar person.
So there's a gentleman there in a waistcoat with a red tie. He looks quite sort of a traditional sort of barkeep, and he stares at you blankly for a moment. And it takes a second for a second person to intervene, and it's a lady. She's like, "Hola, hola, señor."
I talk very, very loudly and very, very slowly.
Okay.
I'm looking for Augustus Larkin. Do you know Senor Larkin?
Senor Larkin, yes. And as she's doing so, she's pouring you a drink, and it's consisting of copious amounts of free pouring rum. And she goes, Senor Larkin, he waits for you over there, and points over to a table with three gentlemen sat behind.
I kind of put a couple of coins. I have no idea of the currency, so I put what I think is a reasonable amount of money on the bar. So thank you very much. Kind of pick up my drink and amble my way over.
She seems quite pleased with the tip. So I'll pause for a second. Well, you sit down, and you're surrounded by an African American gentleman, a man who looks quite pale, who's sitting at the head of the table, and another man who looks very haggard and has a mustache, but looks more Peruvian than the previous guy, the white male.
Okay.
Okay.
Gentlemen, I believe you are expecting me. My name's Robert Dixon. I'm a professor of history at university. I don't know which one links into the thing, so I've kind of left it off there. I'm here to find Augustus Larkin.
Ah, welcome. Have a seat. And it's the person at the head of the table, and he gestures for you to sit next to the African American gentleman. And I'll pause for you there. And James, could you describe coming into the bar and yourself?
So James comes in. He's a large man, quite disfigured face from far too many fights. He walks confidently up to the bar, orders a beer, and just takes in the scene. He's in no big rush to make any introductions. He's going to decide what's going on before making any decisions on how this evening's going to pan out.
Okay, so there's a considerable amount of couples here. There's quite a few people who are slightly more well dressed than what you've seen of having explored Lima for the last day and a half since getting here. There's less traditional clothing and it's more European, considering the place and what you were expecting when you arrived. It also, from what people have told you before you left, there's a fair amount of more amenities than what you thought were going to be here. It's not as rural, it's not as kind of backwards as you thought. So it's a nice, pleasant surprise. It feels comfortable. Are you perching at the bar for a bit, or?
Yeah, I'm just going to stand at the bar with a beer, drinking slowly, and taking in the evening, let's say, and deciding which way I'm going to go.
Sure. The beer tastes slightly odd here. They've chilled it, and it's slightly more bitter lager than what you're used to, but it's pleasant. It's pleasant.
It's better than you get in America at the moment.
Jax.
Sorry. I was like, who the hell's that? I'm going to walk in and maybe scope out how busy the room is. Or how busy the bar is. Is it quite populated? Like, how many people are there, roughly?
It seems very busy for a Monday night. It's lively. The music is quite loud. It's nice. It's a good atmosphere for such a day.
All right. I think then I'll walk immediately up to the bar, find the nearest bar staff, and just say, Larkin.
Okay. So with your approach, regardless of who has answered the bar, you immediately get a finger pointed over to the table where there are now 4 gentlemen sat down. Clearly it's a reasonably well-known person of this area, and they don't speak anything to you, but point you in that direction.
Cool. I'll immediately go sit down on one of the seats at the table and just nod at them and say, gentlemen.
And the person at the end of the table scowls at you slightly. The man with the mustache looks aggressively angry at someone just sitting down, whilst the person at the head of the table, and who might you be?
Jax.
Ah, a little more pleasantry would have been appreciated. And almost you can feel that tension, that atmosphere, as he's not used to these people being this impolite around him. And we'll skip to Jacob.
Sure. I walk in. Are there many tables with 5 men sitting at it now?
This is the biggest table, and it's also in this predominantly in the centre of the room.
Sure.
However, every other one is usually couples or fours.
Yeah, in which case, I think Jakob would basically just immediately walk straight up to the big table. Like, it's clearly the one where the group of men are meeting. And standing there, he's like, "Hello, my name's Jakob. I'm here to join the expedition."
And the person at the head of the table nods and sort of points to the seat next to the man with the mustache. Is well, it seems as though we can almost begin. I hate to be tardy with this, and I have things to do this evening.
Fine.
Is it?
I take off my like really nice hunting jacket and I like put it. I'd like kind of stand there for a second, looking for somebody to hand it to. Does anybody approach me at all?
It's too chaotic, so I suppose people are going back and forth, serving drinks, food's coming out. It's quite a chocker place. It's not that kind of posh place that someone would take a jacket from you.
I just like fold the jacket over my arm and then sit down with it on my lap and look at everyone else, and I'm just like, "Yes, hello, Jakob, hello."
Is this all obvious to me stood at the bar?
I suppose considering that you're watching the entirety of the bar, sort of scoping things out, you can see that there is now a gathering in the centre of the room. Yeah.
Right.
A slow trickle.
I'm going to walk over, introduce myself as Smith, and just sit down.
Okay. Well, it would appear as though we can begin. Thank you all for travelling far and wide. It is most appreciated. We are joined by one of my personal aides, De Mendoza, and he points to the man with the mustache. So the person with the mustache is really gaunt. I suppose he's got incredibly pronounced cheekbones, deep-set, piercing blue eyes. He's got medium-length brown hair, and it's really unkempt. His clothing's clean, but it's old and a bit frayed. And considering you're getting to the evening, it's reasonably light cotton. And then the person that is describing and introducing everyone is quite pale, very thin, with greasy blonde hair, and again pale blue eyes. He looks reasonably young, but also quite haggard at the same time. He's got considerable bags underneath his eyes, and he's wearing a linen suit which appears to be slightly too big for him. He's also, considering the smell of fish in the air, you can smell his cologne from across the table. It's strong. It's really strong. And as well, we have with us today Mr. Jesse Hughes. And he points over to the African-American man at his side. Now, this man's pretty average in build. He's got short hair and he's constantly grinning. He's wearing a tweed suit and he's sporting a fedora and having a pipe in hand. Good evening, gentlemen. It's fantastic to finally meet you.
Sorry, my levels were a bit messed up on the things. I went a bit silent there. My guy kind of he puts on quite a personable smile. As yes, very much you two. Kind of holds his hand out to shake his hand.
And he warmly shakes your hand back.
It's very good to meet you all. I can't wait. This is such an exciting time. I can't wait to get out there and see what the world has to offer. Can I get anybody a drink while we're here?
Please, Robert. The pleasure is all mine. And he snaps his finger at the man at the table, who you can only really assume is Mr. Larkin at this point. The air about him. And considering the hustle and the bustle of the bar, immediately someone comes over. And with little words, he circles the table, orders a fresh round of drinks, and prepares them for you, and goes away. So he whilst all of this has gone on, Dim Mendoza hasn't really said anything. He's silent. He's talking to you, and he looks quite grumpy. But can first roll of the canoe campaign? Can the person with the highest psychology roll make the roll, please?
It's not me.
Quick, everyone to the charts. Also, Joe, that wasn't South Africa.
I think I have.
It was in
I have
character.
psychology of 75, so I'm guessing that I'll have the highest one.
Yeah, you'll probably be higher. I can't even
Don't even know where it is.
be 100% higher.
Okay.
Where is it?
Did I pass?
I mean,
Sorry, I'm.
Oh yeah, it's better than mine.
No. So
how did you fail? Literally the first roll of the game, dude. Like,
It's like you've never played games with me before.
you know this is a new campaign, not a continuation.
yeah, come on.
Yeah. So unfortunately, you don't notice anything at hand. So within a few minutes, the round of drinks comes. It's an incredibly strong drink with a dark fruity juice to top it off. And shortly after, ceviche is served to all of you. So nice, rich, lemony sea bass with really starchy corn and sweet potatoes. And even before coming out, you know this is kind of like a national dish, and it is really, really tasty. Something you'll certainly have to have before you leave.
Jacob at that point in time like sees the food and isn't quite sure what it is, and just kind of like spends the first few minutes just poking it with his fork and with his cutlery while everyone else eats, just being quite apprehensive about it before he even like takes a bite of what is essentially acid cooked fish.
Yeah.
My guy clearly doesn't like fish, but at the same time he's eating it to be personable and to be like not sort of insulting the host.
Okay. And that's not necessarily uncommon, as Dim Mendoza appears to be of the same kind of viewpoint.
This is rather an interesting cuisine.
Interesting how, Robert?
Well, it's very fishy, isn't it?
Quite possibly because it is fish.
Oh yes, of course. And kind of makes a really crappy joke about fish and then gets back to it.
Okay.
I'm just going to stare at them as if to say, what are you guys doing?
Okay.
James has got slightly more respect for Jax now.
James liked that.
And as the conversation over dinner progresses, Larkin turns to start off with Jax, and he goes, "So, what would make a man travel all across the country, across the world, to join an expedition?"
Sorry, I missed. Who was he asking?
You.
I thought it might be after the extremely long silence. I heard the entire part, but now who's asking?
Is that spot hidden? 100, you say?
Yes. I got my reasons. Do you need to know them?
Well, if you intend on joining my expedition, yes.
I want to see the world.
And he waits, not feeling the silence.
And stuff.
Excellent reasons. And he turns his head over to look slightly at Jacob. And yourself?
Put it this way. I need the money, but I need the money, and I've always wanted to be an explorer. So, quite frankly, I'm here to achieve both of those things. Is that fair? Do you need more from me?
I would say that's fair.
Good.
But be assured you're not being paid to be here.
No, I'm sure I can find another way to make any money to be here.
Anything in particular you plan on doing, Mr. Muse?
I mean, there's when I was a child, I used to read books about all the rare animals that are out here, and I have made it my profession to hunt them. So, quite frankly, I believe my intention is to hunt them rare animals, take back a few of the finer specimens, and sell them to those clients that I have that would be interested. Is that fair? Or are you going to tell me next that I can't even bring a gun?
By no means. I would quite like that. There are times when we are going to be up in the Highlands, and having a avid shooter is more than welcome.
Good, because I would hate to leave my arms behind. They are the only things that have kept me going in this life. So I'll be your man. I'll be your man.
Sensing that the conversation gets slightly dark in tone, and he doesn't want to really understand or care why that is the only thing that's important to you. Mr. Smith, particularly quiet this evening? Not enjoying the company?
Just making my mind up.
Ah, not sold on the expedition as of yet.
I'm trying to decide whether it's a worthwhile way to make $1.
Money does seem to make the world go round.
It's the only thing that makes sense.
Seeing that Mr. Dixon clearly isn't enjoying his dinner, and to entertain him slightly, and you, Robert, you've travelled a significant way yourself?
Yeah. First of all, in the most subtle way I possibly can, I kind of move away from Jacob when he starts talking about all his arms, and I prefer my arms inside my sleeves. But yeah, I just sort of launched into a tirade of just like, it's such a fascinating area. The history of this place is so rich, yet so much is left undiscovered. I'm delighted to be here to find out what's happening in the jungle. I've never been on an expedition like this before, and it kind of goes on to talk about this weird, intricate history of the region that we're in, and kind of the folklore and things. And you can see that I'm just so excited, and my hands are going all over the place, up until the point where people get bored.
Okay, and people do start phasing out, but Jesse Hughes continues with your excitement. Oh, Mr. Dixon, you will surely love it. I have travelled many a place, and it's such a fantastic thing. And he goes on and on to almost to a point where it's just you two talking.
Am I sitting next to Smith?
Jacob is. You are sat sort of at the other end of the table.
Bollocks. Right next to you.
You're at the other head of the table. You're at the foot of the table.
Alright, I'll give it to myself. But I don't have anyone cool to talk to, so I'm just gonna be like quiet.
Okay.
And while Robert like shifts away from me and then like talks for a good age, what seems like an eternity, I like finish prodding the rest of my fish, taking a mouthful or two, eating whatever else comes tentatively, and I stand up for a couple of minutes and I walk over to the bar, get myself like just a couple of tall shots, knock them both back, look back around to the table to see if they've finished talking.
I haven't even noticed you've gone. Just rambling on.
I grab the bottle and I come back to the table if they don't stop me.
Sure. And Larkin kind of raises an eyebrow sort of at the fact that you've gone to get more drinks, sort of that kind of, is this not enough? sort of look. And he begins to, as you're almost deep in conversation, you're enjoying your dinner, as the meal itself is coming to a close. He claps his hands to gain everyone's attention. Now, I believe we should talk real about this expedition, decide who is and who is not coming, if that's the case. You see, I wish to take you all into the Highlands. I have heard rumour and seen many great things about a lost pyramid, and there are indeed some valuable artifacts that we could take. I cannot pay you in money, but I'm sure these would make a pretty penny, if you know what I mean.
Artifacts, animal pelts, it's all the same as long as it puts money in my pocket. I don't care. I'll be there.
I'm sure, Mr. Muse, but I think this would sell for far more than any pelt that you could possibly gain.
If you say so.
I'm not even interested in the artifacts. I'm here for what I can discover for myself. Anything beyond that this is kind of my trip. This is me discovering the world.
Oh, Mr. Dixon, I am sure you will be able to write many a paper on this. Academic success is surely to be yours. And his words are smooth, they're greasy, as he kind of plays to everyone's ego.
How old does Robert look?
He's in his mid-40s. I look very, very much like the academic of the time. So even though I've kind of unbuttoned my shirt and everything, you can see everything's meticulous, everything's, that three-piece suit type of a thing. I'm very expressive and without being condescending, because my guy's kind of he's somebody who people would probably warm to. He's kind of desperate to teach people all the time.
Yeah. I was trying to work out whether or not you had the youthful energy, or if you were just going through a midlife crisis.
Midlife crisis, without a doubt.
I'm not going to say anything if that wasn't abundant.
I'm just going to nod approvingly at his comments, Larkin's comments.
Okay. So he continues, he tells you, he goes, you see, I have recovered a few interesting items from an alpaca farmer near Puno. He claims his grandfather recovered them from tunnels beneath the pyramid in the high mountains. His grandfather never returned to the site because of some superstitious fear. And you see him kind of wave this off as a novelty, as a silliness. But he told his family of many treasures within the tunnels. I don't have the precise location, but with this expedition could easily work out where, given the location. Robert, make another psychology roll.
Okay, you asked for it.
Fail.
Oh no, it's going to happen.
I'm going
Psychology.
with 94. Oh, I passed.
You kind of get the feeling that perhaps this isn't the whole story.
I get the feeling that this isn't the whole story. I think there's something you're hiding from us. He's saying you can see there's kind of a glint in his eye, so he isn't accusing you.
Okay.
And he's trying to charm you into giving a little bit of extra info.
Ah, Mr. Dixon, you are a sharp man. He goes on and says, you see, the man himself, Estrello. Oh, hold on, let me get the name.
Loading.
Can I quickly ask a question?
Yeah.
In the last campaign, we had a journal that we could write stuff down in notes. Mm-hmm. Is there a way that we can create that in this one as well? Because we don't have one in our documents.
Okay, give me a second.
Thanks. I mean, you can say no. Like, I just won't take notes.
I was gonna say that you open a fucking notepad on there.
I mean, exactly, yeah.
Go, Joe. You have one.
Thank you.
This music is banging.
Are you a 1920s emo?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I'm really old. I'm like 60.
Oh, right. So you're just bitter at life.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going down the. I don't really care about any of this, so.
I just got it that as life is black.
Yeah. I hate you all.
Right, you should all have notes.
Thank you.
Okay, so he goes on to tell you, well, you see, Mr. Estrello is who I managed to procure the artifacts off of. And he clicks his fingers, and someone comes over and they bring him a bag. And he takes out 2 small items. So the first he shows you with 2 hands. It's valuable to him. He shows you that it's a pendant in the form of a man holding 2 rods or staves, embellished with rectangular shapes.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. Looks like a pendant.
Can I make an occult roll to see if I would know what that is?
You can if you wish, but an archaeology roll would also suffice.
I will be rolling on occult.
Okay.
I have 1 in archaeology.
Okay. Oh!
Mate, I know who made it.
Okay. This has nothing to do with the occult. And he dives back into the satchel, like the canvas satchel, and he pulls out a large golden cup. It's carved with geometrical patterns and circles that are inlaid with turquoise. Both very nice pieces.
That's a pretty cup.
It is.
I bet it fetch a pretty penny too.
I'm sure it will, and I'm sure there are many more that we can take.
You got a buyer?
Not yet, but that's not our concern at the time, Mr. Muse.
I mean, I'm fairly sure it's part of the concern. Surely, otherwise, why are we doing this if there's nobody buying these things?
Because there is greatness to be had in discoveries.
Of course.
We can worry about selling later. There are always buyers.
Fine, I'll take your word for it.
Does anyone have any archaeology points that they would...
Not in the slightest, no.
I have lots and lots of history points.
Not off the top of my head.
No.
Nope.
It's a good thing we're all really prepared for this. So,
So close.
Okay.
I didn't want to roll it. I just wanted to see.
Yeah.
On the off chance I got a 1.
So you're
Or a
unfamiliar...
0.
Yeah. You're unfamiliar with the patterns, the shapes, what they could be. But they certainly look intriguing. They look like nice little artifacts. You can't tell the validity of them or where they're from or how old they are, but they look nice.
Do they look expensive?
The golden cup for sure.
Has it been obviously polished?
Yeah, it's been cleaned up. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, gentlemen, before we retire, is there anything you would like to ask?
how long was this going to take you, do you expect?
More difficult to answer than the when, Mr. Muse. It takes as long as it takes. I suppose we will leave here on March the 21st. I expect you to be at my hotel at 8 a.m. Hotel España. From there, it will take us roughly 3 days to get up to the Highlands.
I see. And then?
And then our expedition truly begins.
But then what are we waiting for, other than obviously March the 21st, 8 a.m.? Do you need us to collect anything? Or bring anything with us?
All supplies will be provided for. Tonight your accommodation has been ready for you at Hotel Maori, and that will be continued to be paid for whilst you're with us. But no, I have everything. If you fancy picking yourself up anything you believe will be useful, bring me a receipt, and I'm sure we will have it reimbursed.
Okay. My thanks. Is it 3 days walk or is it 3 days drive or a bit of both?
3 days drive initially. We are intending to get to Lake Titicaca up in the highlands.
I see. Well, I hope to lay my hands on a few artifacts like that, and I hope we find a seller then. I shall see you then.
Okay. Anyone else got any more questions?
So, Mr. Smith, your face looks frighteningly familiar. Where have I seen you before?
You're a boxing fan?
I certainly am, sir, yes.
It's possible you've seen me fight before. Long time ago now.
I kind of start off that. Are you? And I'm guessing you kind of give me an evil look and I stop right in my tracks.
Very much so.
Oh, yeah. I kind of look around and say, there's still drinks and things like that, so I can't offer anything else there. So I go in to try and open small talk with people who very clearly don't want to make small talk with me.
Okay. De Mendoza almost outrightly ignores you. He ignores pretty much everyone, only occasionally nodding to what Larkin is saying. And it's a short amount of time before Larkin kind of stands up almost reasonably suddenly, and he goes, "Well, gentlemen, I must retire. I'm beginning to feel under the weather, and I will have someone collect you in the morning of March the 21st. Please ensure if you intend to be on this trip, you are there and ready. We cannot afford to wait longer than this." Does anyone have any points in? Anyone want to make a spot hidden or a medicine roll?
Spot hidden will do.
I would like to make a spot hidden roll.
Oh,
I might do that. I might be good at that. I am good at that.
Do we need to roll, or like everyone rolling? Everyone's rolling. Screw you guys.
We'll get into the habit that the person with the highest will do it, just because otherwise we'll always succeed.
How does that work? Because surely if only the person with the highest always rolls, then everyone else is never going to get better at those things, or does that not matter?
Oh, that is true. That is true. I suppose the downside is I don't want us. The problem with this system is always succeeding, but also constantly trying to do whispers is quite difficult on this.
Yeah.
So yeah, potentially we'll get into the habit, but for unimportant things.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. Oh, please as well, Luke. Make sure you're ticking things that you succeed on, so we can level up. When you succeed a roll, you tick it. So, Jacob, you kind of notice that Larkin himself is growing particularly paler, and there are big bullets of sweat dripping down his forehead. He looks considerably uncomfortable. Whereas Jax, you actually notice, I think he's withdrawing from some sort of opiates. You've seen this before. And you think that's what it might be. So with little kind of goodbyes, he makes his excuses. Mendoza following him like a lapdog, and they exit the building. And Jesse kind of goes, "Well, gentlemen, this was a fine meal. I really enjoyed myself." And he's looking predominantly at Robert. "I would love if you would join me for a drink. There are some fantastic bars down the road, and we have to get as much of it as we can, don't we?"
I think that is an absolutely splendid idea. Yeah. I kind of put some money on the bar for the table for whoever's cleaning up. And gentlemen, will you be joining us?
Sure.
Not going to say no to a drink, so he says, finishing the bottle that he took from the bar earlier, like literally just like throwing it on the table to the point where he didn't try and place it, just like left it so it rolls off, probably smashes, realizes, stands up, at which point in time it becomes clear that the jacket that he put on his lap at the very beginning just immediately fell off when he went to the bar to get other stuff, and he's had his feet on it and all sorts of stuff. Kind of like he hasn't taken care of it because of the alcohol. Leans down, picks it up, just like flicks it out, and then like puts it on. It's like, well, what are we waiting for, boys?
I put another couple of coins on top of the pile that was already there, in way of an apology for the staff.
Okay.
Subtly, though, subtly.
I'm going to put down the half bottle of beer that I've been nursing all evening.
Okay.
And nod agreement to join them.
Okay. Well, wonderful, gentlemen. Let us make do. And he's very Jasteric, and he's very hearty, and he starts walking out, fedora back on, and he sort of, as he goes out, he tips it to the person on the door, and he leads you down the street. It's a very busy, even though it's kind of getting on to maybe, I don't know, 9:30 at night now. The streets are still busy. There's an air of kind of foot traffic, considerable amount of noise and hustle and bustle within Lima, and it's not long before you get to a bar. It's probably not as nice as the one you were just in, but there are more kind of working class people, labourers, sort of having a drink, and he huddles you all over to the bar and starts ordering, quite excitedly.
Oh, how delightful. What a wonderful little place this is.
It's one of my favourite. I do come here often.
Well, Jesse, I think you and I are going to get on famously. This looks an amazing place. So tell me about it. And yeah, I'm kind of off on one again.
It's like, I'm cutting in. I'm just like, what the shit are you talking about, Robert? It's a fucking shithole in here. Why have you brought us here?
What do you mean? This is such a quaint place. Look,
Yes.
It's a real place with real people.
You want real? I'll give you fucking real, boy. And you want real?
I feel like you've got a knife to my throat.
No, he hasn't pulled anything out. He's just like,
He hasn't pulled anything out. Oh.
At that point, you go from South African to Australian. Yeah.
No,
That's a knife.
Jacob just starts talking about like hunting things and like literally just like living on almost nothing and trying to just exist on the hunt and like how hard it's going to be. So like this place is just like the beginning of the descent, as it were, in his mind.
But Jacob, what you call a deer with no eyes?
Like literally cuts him off like halfway through a sentence. Like, I don't know, Robert. What do you call a deer with no eyes?
No idea.
Of course.
And at that point, Jesse is kind of laughing, rolling and laughing. Oh, Mr. Muse, you must take heart in these jokes.
I'm very smug and happy with my own little joke there. And I'm hoping that some of the Peruvians understand English, just so they can appreciate what I did there.
It looks like not. Predominantly, you can hear a lot of Spanish going on.
I'm going to walk up to you guys and then just ask, so what's up Mendoza's ass?
I understand. He is quite unwelcome within this city. There are a few people that spread a few rumors, truth be told.
The truth about rumors is that they are rarely are unfounded, though. So, pray tell, what are them rumors?
Well, I suppose some of the people around here they've warned me that he's some kind of Carisi.
A what, sir? A what?
A Carisi. Anyone got history or folklore or anything like that?
Well, yes. History will do, considering I'm a history professor.
Yeah, you'll be going for that one.
This one, yeah.
Fail!
Hey.
So
You didn't read up about this place before you came.
incredibly
Nice last night.
Yeah. You're incredibly excited as you hear this and and you're like, oh, he's talking about folklore. And as you kind of think, you're like, I know this, but you're too drunk, you're too giddy, and it never comes. And he's like, well, gentlemen, I suppose it's a kind of folklore about some sort of monster that sucks the fat out of people. Obviously, it's not doesn't exist. It's merely folklore, but dates all the way back to the conquistadors of the 16th century.
He sure was.
I have a face on now. Because I knew that. I have a face on.
I mean, in general, what did you think of Larkin about what he said?
What did he say?
I mean,
The expedition, the traveling, I have my doubts.
Why? It sounded fairly standard.
I don't know very much about artifacts, but they looked genuinely valuable enough to me.
Oh, I have no doubt they were genuine, but he looks around for a second, and you can see him clearly scanning every face within the bar. And he leans in slightly closer. He's, gentlemen, really, I am not Jesse Hughes. My name is Jackson Elias. You may know me as an author. Some of my books, Sons of the Dead. And I've been here researching, and Larkin, there is something up with this man.
In what way? I mean, he looked fucking ill. I'll give you that. He looked like he was going to die. But,
He likes his drugs.
I mean,
It turns to his drugs.
It's clearly taking drugs of some kind.
Really?
Yeah, that's why he was so ill looking.
I just thought it was the heat.
Nah,
you call this heat, Robert. This isn't heat. You should visit me in Joburg. That's heat. I'll show you the hottest time.
Oh lordy! I'm trying to be a gruff, ugly old bastard. You're making me laugh, you dick.
I'm sorry. What's the matter, Jax? You got some kind of issue there? You're laughing at me, boy.
I'm not laughing in character. Let's put it that way.
I want you to do the Joe Pesci speech in the South African accent now. Am I a clown? Am I here to amuse you?
One day, maybe. Not today.
So, Jackson, as you have now come to know, he continues is more concerned at the idea that you think that he's on drugs, and he sort of goes, well, I do believe he is trying to lure you into some danger. He has been here a while, and he's been trying to convince some of the locals of Puno to explore this pyramid, but no one's willing to accompany him. Now he's turning to find foreigners to flesh out this expedition. Here you are.
Why is it that the locals won't go with him?
I am not sure.
So that's particularly useless of you. Well,
Apologies, but I'm still doing my research.
I understand. Are you coming with us on this trip, or are you staying here to do some research?
I intend to go where I can, Mr. Muse, although not everyone is as keen to have me around as you are.
I mean,
I kind of holding in a.
why not, boy? What have you done? Is it just...
Nothing myself. Surely you felt the tension between me and Mendoza. He is not one for conversation, and certainly does not like myself.
No, he seems like I shan't say that word with this polite company.
I do appreciate that. Cursing is nothing to be taken lightly. There have been others that have wanted to join us, and people from here. Professor Sanchez at the National University of San Marcos. Time and time again, he's been asking to join this this expedition. He's told me that he had some artifacts and some old documents at the site about the site of the university, but he won't Larkin. He won't let him come on.
I mean, what's a little bit of danger?
Surely it can't be that dangerous. I mean, the government wouldn't allow us to go into a position where we'd be in mortal peril.
Well, I suppose. What has your government got to do with this, Robert?
No, I'm talking about the Peruvian government. Surely, we would only be allowed in certain places. There's kind of a bit of a naivety about how he's speaking, in the way that somebody who's only ever lived in an academic circle would have.
Yeah. No. The laws are quite different here. People can come, take artifacts, take them back and sell them. There's no laws in Peru that would stop that.
Really? Fascinating.
You think these people know shit about artifacts, Robbie? No. They don't know shit. We're going to take it all. And I'm finally going to be rich. It's going to be good.
So, Mr. Muse, you believe he is truthful? This is a real expedition?
Of course. What else would it be? And if it's not, well, somebody's going to pay me. If it's in money or flesh, who knows?
I don't think they'd put up much of a fight.
I'm very sort of. Well, I don't know where to put myself now. I'm trying to do the whole. Oh, anyway, after that, and
I'm going to put a large, meaty hand on Robert's shoulder and say, "Don't worry, we'll look after you." Whilst towering over him.
Yeah,
I'm gonna let out a big belly laugh at that.
Hey, I was on the wrestling team at Princeton.
Okay,
That
and then it gets even louder. Yeah.
You ever tried to wrestle an alligator, Robbie?
No, but there was one gentleman who was quite rough.
Quite rough, you say?
Yes, I had quite a lot of chafing after that match.
Yes, chafing. That is certainly what you need to watch out for as we go on this expedition.
It took a week and a half worth of ointment to get me back to normal, I'll have you know.
Well, make sure to stack up on your ointment, Robert. We'll need it as we go.
I'm gonna order a drink. That's what I'm gonna have to. I have to get another drink after that.
You get another round of drinks. It's particularly difficult to. This place is busy, and it takes a little while. Arm out over people at the bar, sort of, it's 2 people deep to get served. But eventually, you manage to restock on beverages. You see, gentlemen, I suppose my thing is research, and I have told you this. And the reason for me being here is that I have been spending a particular amount of time near Lake Titicaca looking for some evidence of what we would call a death cult. It's centuries old, and I do believe that Larkin and Mendoza might be involved in this sort of cult.
Can I make a history roll to see if I would know a little bit about this death cult? If it's a historical thing?
Yeah, I got him.
Well, he does that. I won't fucking lie, my boy. Quite frankly, I'd have led with that if I were you. Not, do you believe if this is a real expedition? More kind of, I think he's leading you to a death cult, boys. But, you do you. Whatever.
I'm kind of... You don't mean, and I kind of give you a little bit of information about the cult that would be in several academic history books, but not necessarily like secret magic, Cthulhu's personal diary books. So you don't mean I'll give you kind of, this is fascinating, I'm chomping at the bit now. Like, oh wow, this is exactly what I came for.
Yeah. So you kind of remember sort of thinking about sort of pagan rituals that sort of I suppose, come under the term of sort of the Carisi, and in all likelihood, those actual attacks were perpetrated by people, by humans, as some sort of human sacrifice, which to Jackson Elias's mind and kind of your mind, that that's a cult focused around death that's predominantly from Peru. And he kind of looks over after Jacob's made a particularly harsh dig at him, and he's like, I mean no offense, but it is hardly something to, it's speculation. I'm asking you for your opinion.
I mean, my opinion is being formed right now on the basis of what you say. Are you talking like the kind of death cult where they're going to murder us, or are you talking death cult as in they worship death? I'd like to know before I even go any further.
Well, people have gone missing. So
I mean, of course people have gone missing. It's up in the fucking Highlands. What are you talking about, boy? You'd want, like, missing as in missing and remnants have been found, or like missing and just, they never came back kind of missing?
Well, never came back, I suppose. Nothing's ever been found.
I see. Well, I'm willing to still take a chance on this.
Have you ever asked them?
No, I could not ask such a thing. It's mighty rude, don't you think, Jax?
No.
Ah. Well, we're all different.
Do they know your real name?
No, and I would appreciate if you did not tell them this. I do a significant amount of research. I have some very famous books. If they were to know it was me, they might know that I was researching them.
What is it that you've written up until now? Would I know them?
Sons of the Dead was my most famous book.
Can I make a roll to see if I remember that?
Roll a
know
luck.
of it?
Unfortunately, those sort of titles haven't made it out to where you were. It's probably a bit more specialised than the average top shelf book.
I mean, I don't know what it is you've written, so I'm just going to take you at face value, boy. It's if what you're telling me is true and they are leading me towards peril, I will do my best to get myself out of there. And you look like able chaps, especially you, James. I imagine you're going to get us out of there too.
Make sure I get myself out of there.
Good.
And our professional wrestler, Robert Dixon here.
They used to call me the Gopher.
I'm just going to turn to the
So
side.
I just kept on squirreling away.
And laugh into my drink to try and hide it as much as possible.
Gentlemen, I wager that I can get that barmaid to imagine that we're very important people and keep on filling our drinks all night. Shall I go have a word?
On you go.
That is the first fucking good thing you've said all night, Bobby. On you go.
I'm going to make a persuade roll to see if she will think that we're important people and want to fill our drinks. No, don't like me. I'm afraid, gentlemen, the Gopher does not prosper today.
And I suppose it's particularly difficult. She doesn't speak.
I don't think that lady spoke English.
She speaks very, very broken English, and eventually there's a sly hand movement as you pass her some coin to feign that you've managed to succeed, but everyone saw.
What date is it, by the way? Because we're meeting on March 21st. Are we?
It's the 18th.
We're on the 18th.
The 18th today.
It's the 18th.
I only know that because that's the date that we're supposed to meet him.
So, what do you propose we do for the next few days?
Well, I'm certainly meeting Professor Sanchez. If any of you would like to accompany me, he's a most pleasant man, and I would like to know more about why he was refused to go on this expedition, but that's more my own interest.
There were people who refused to go on this expedition.
That's
Yeah.
what he was saying earlier.
Just the one or multiple?
This person that I know of.
I see. Well,
I think that sounds a fantastic idea. I'd be very much appreciate to speak to another academic.
Oh, he is fantastic, Robert.
Oh, that sounds like something I'm very much wanting to get involved with. So yes, I'm more than happy to come with you.
Excellent, excellent.
putting me off as every second passes. No, I'll do what I need to do. And when are you meeting him?
Tomorrow morning.
What time?
That is up to us. He just asked me to come by in the morning.
Fine, I'll come.
Excellent. And he kind of looks around.
I just takes another massive drink of like whatever drink has been placed in front of him.
Okay.
Got nothing else to do.
Enthusiastic as ever. And it's a light-hearted joke. You can see there's no malice in it. He's very, very playful. So as it kind of the evening goes on, is there anything that you want to achieve whilst you're drinking in this bar?
I would like Jacob not to hate me and want to stab me. That'd be fantastic. But I think the more I talk to him, the less likely that is.
Is Robert self-aware enough to know this?
The bit where he said, "I will show you pain," I think he did get, but probably not for the rest of it. To be honest, he's just trying to be quite an affable and likable guy. He's going to try and persuade the barmaid that we should get free drinks to her. That's his aim for the evening, essentially.
Okay, how do you push the roll?
How do I push the roll? My guy's kind of trick, if you like, is the psychology side of things. So he's watching what she's doing and everything else there. He's kind of doing the mirroring thing to get her attention and get her to see him and everything else there.
Okay.
He isn't doing anything dirty. He's just wanting to talk to her, and he's kind of puts coins down, and when she comes to get the coin, it's a playful thing about, and it's trying to convince her in the nicest possible way that we're people that maybe she should serve a little bit more.
Okay, so roll again and try and get under 37.
Not going to get under 75.
Oh! So as
She
the night
loves
goes on, with your general academic nerdiness, a few drinks, you loosen up, the playfulness starts to come out. Even though there's no real English spoken, the gestures are fantastic and you manage to get her attention. And she slides you all a tray full of 2 drinks with a nice wink.
See, gentlemen, see, I told you I could do it.
Mine are gone.
It only took 3 hours and several dollars, but we've got a free drink.
My drinks are gone in moments.
Okay.
Like...
Whoosh, whoosh. You are starting to feel considerably drunk. The aggressiveness mellows out ever so slightly, at times until people bump into you. It's a crowded bar. It's uncomfortable. So it gets to kind of closer to midnight, and eventually traffic starts to go down. People start leaving the bar. And sort of last orders are rung before people, seemingly the lights go on to a brighter setting or turned up, and you're ushered out of the bar, all feeling quite giddy, and particularly drunk, some more than others.
I have barely been drinking, because
Yeah.
he doesn't really.
I, as we're leaving the bar, acquire a bottle from the bar of whatever local liquor they have, made of whatever local fruit there is, if that makes sense. Just like the cheap locals drink of just like nearly pure ethanol.
I'm
And, like,
I'm guessing Jacob's been drinking the drinks that I've been leaving on the table.
oh yeah, those are gone as well. But you're
Minesweeping.
covered.
My guy is absolutely hammered. He seems to have attached himself to some of the locals who want to take him to an after party. And I think that's a splendid idea, even though it's likely that they're going to rob me.
Okay. Okay. So, you know, your tie's askew, the buttons on your waistcoat are undone.
Oh no, my tie is firmly sideways on my head. This guy's ready to party.
Can I make a listen check as I like go to leave to see to like understand what's happening?
Yeah, go for it.
No, I don't give a fuck, mate.
Okay. So, Robert, are you going off with these locals?
Unless anybody's going to stop me, yeah? It looks that way.
And James, Jax, and Jacob. God, I didn't realise the 3 J's. Triple J. Are you walking back to Hotel Maori together, separate? What are you doing?
I'm just gonna stand there, watch the other two walk off, and then I'll walk off. I mean,
yeah, I'm just walking back.
You just go.
Yeah, I'll.
Is Robert being taken off by 2 men?
2 men and 1 lady.
I mean, was it obvious that he was leaving us quite early on, or was this quite a sudden occurrence? Like, how shocking do I find this?
It's been steadily happening over the night that people have been, these people have been interacting with him more. He's been sort of in between sort of conversation to you, conversation to them, conversation to you. He seems happy, seems giddy. I mean, he is also very drunk, but then again, so are you.
He's in his 40s. He's a big boy. I'm sure he can manage.
Okay.
That's the approach I'm going to take.
Okay.
I'm going to try and follow them at a discreet distance.
Okay.
So I don't want to make it obvious that I am following them,
Okay.
but I'm going to follow.
Jacob and James, it takes you a little longer than expected, but you manage to get back to Hotel Maori, and you go back to the rooms that have been assigned to you with little problem. Mr. Dixon, please can you roll a luck? We'll see how this goes.
I was following Robert there, yeah?
You are.
Yeah. You just got the names wrong way around.
Okay.
Yeah, hope that.
These don't want to rob me, they just want to have fun.
So you get back, so they take you down, and you go through a few winding streets. A dog barks in the night as you pass its gate, and eventually they pull you into some kind of... it's quite a poor place of living, but in terms of Peruvian standard, it's quite standard. James, you watch as Robert goes into a house.
Does it... Because if they're going to mug him, it probably just happened outside. So he does look like he's been taken somewhere, like a house, somewhere that's occupied, somebody's house. There
was no lights on. There was no light coming. I suppose 1920s. There was no light coming out of the house at that time. Someone went in, they unlocked the door, and they all went in together.
Right. I'm presumably there's not a huge amount of street lighting and things like that. I'm going to stand as close as possible without being obvious.
Okay. So, Robert, as you go in this house, it's a little bit dirty. The walls, the floor, everything is tiled. And I suppose there's more traditional Peruvian kind of the way it's kind of decorated than the places you've been before, which are more European. So there's kind of big, bright coloured knitted throws over the couches. There's no TV. As someone sort of flicks on the lights, and it's quite a dim, poor bulb lights. And then all of a sudden, you hear this massive da 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 as someone turns on an old kind of record player, and some fantastic music comes out. There are trumpets, there's everything, and at that moment you are living the dream.
It's like, hey!
Yeah. At this point, like, you could not have imagined a better trip. Oh my days, you are living like the locals.
I am planning to dance and drink until I pass out. That's me.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can hear this music coming out, James. It's loud. The neighbours are going to be pissed.
But apart from that, everything seems okay.
Everything seems fine.
I'm just going to stand there. I'm not his keeper.
Okay.
I'm just interested.
Okay. An hour passes, nothing. A second hour passes, nothing as it gets to 2 a.m. At this point, Robert's probably, I would agree, you probably passed out on a sofa. Maybe about 3 o'clock, the lights switch off, and then music goes off. What's James doing?
Is there any way what's the door like on the house? Is there any way to see what's inside?
There's like a large wide window with sort of like metal bars across to protect the window.
Can I try and look in?
Yeah. So you go up. Let me get your character sheet up a second so I can find you. Can you roll a stealth?
Probably not. Green one, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Ooh.
Okay. So as you're kind of going up, the gate makes a bit of a sound. Sort of as you're getting up, you're not silent by any means. But after a moment sort of pause, no lights turn on inside the house. There seems to be no one really worrying. As you get up to the window, it's reasonably easy to see now that the lights are off, and you can see a rather well-dressed man passed out on the sofa.
Oh, no. I'm wearing a poncho. I have a Peruvian hat on, and I'm collapsed on the couch with my ass showing.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
You're not making it easy to help.
I'm living the dream, man. I'm living the dream. This is everything this guy has dreamed of for his entire life in academia. He's kicking with the locals. That's what he's doing. He's
There's no one else there.
It doesn't seem to be.
He looks relatively unharmed.
Slight alcohol poisoning, perhaps, but fine.
I'm just going to leave him to it. Go back to the hotel.
Okay.
He's just some weird, creepy guy. Just I hope he's having a good time in that party. Oh.
It takes you maybe about 20 minutes to manage to find Hotel Maori, to which you find that the door is locked, and it takes a bit of banging to wake up to a very grumpy, old, small Peruvian man who reluctantly lets you in. But you go in, you find your room, and you anything you do before bed?
Nah, I'm not particularly drunk, so
Nope.
Take the cheap suit off that I'm wearing, which is most of the clothes that I own.
Yeah.
Throw them over a chair and sleep.
Excellent. So as we go into the night, it's probably a good place in the story to have our wee breaks, our half time. Does that work with everyone?
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So 10 minutes and then we'll resume.
Sure.
Okay, so it is March the 19th. As you wake up, some of you very sore, very, very groggy. Robert, you have a particular experience of like... your mouth is quite literally like the deserts as your tongue going... Oh.
Is he noticing he doesn't have trousers on yet?
The first thing you notice is kind of the coolness, as your bum is quite cold, and the more you feel around, it's quite nice. This is comfy. I like this this cotton woolen.
Then I turn around, see 3 Peruvian children sat opposite me.
Luckily, no. But this is most certainly not the hotel room you stayed in the night before. And there's a sick feeling in your stomach, both of anxiety, but also as if you're about to evacuate your bowels from all directions.
I have no idea where the toilet is, so I run for the front door.
Okay.
Make a little roll.
I think there's something very similar to Constitution. Then make a con roll, please, on your characteristics top right.
Oh, please fail this one.
Quite epically.
Almost critically.
Both ends, gentlemen, both ends.
You managed to very just hold in diarrhea, but explosively, as people are getting up and starting to make their way to work down the lane out of this sort of dry grass sort of front yard, and it just keeps coming to the point where bile is coming up, and you do not feel better for it.
That is, yes.
I'm happy.
I'm just. I'm actually not embarrassed. I'm quite impressed with the amount that's come out.
Okay.
That's just like, you're gonna do it, man. You got to do it. This is an experience. This is what I can tell my non-existent grandchildren.
Yeah. Nice. So what do you do after that?
I look around for a mop and bucket.
Okay.
And then I kind of say my hellos, goodbyes, thank yous to the people I was with.
Okay.
I'm guessing I can't find my pants, so I'm wearing this poncho all the way back to the hotel, and they kind of direct me to where I need to go. And I walk through the main lobby of this hotel, kind of everybody as I'm going past to my room.
Excellent. So it takes you a long time to sort of stagger back, and as you make your way down, it kind of, there are hot sweats, it is already humid for you, you do not feel well, and every now and again you kind of go very warm, very cold, and you're like, oh, every single drink you regret that night. You know, there is a serious, this was fantastic, but fuck, I will never drink again, kind of the classic.
Yep.
Everyone else, you managed to wake up in your own beds. It is semi-warm. It's kind of, it's a bit hot, sweaty, but you managed to get yourself ready. What does everyone do? What's your morning routine?
First things first, as Jacob wakes up, he immediately reaches over to the bottle that he acquired the night before from the bar and takes a deep, long swig of whatever horrible, home brewed alcohol there is. It stands up. What floor am I on of the hotel?
Second.
Do I have a balcony or anything?
It's not that good a hotel. There's a, do you call it like a maisonette window, like a door window, but there's like a grate in front of it.
Yeah. Stand up, open the windows, completely not wearing anything.
Okay.
Open the windows, finish the bottle, just pitch it into the street.
Okay.
See a man with no pants and a poncho walking past as the bottle flies over his head.
Yeah. And there's people shout as you manage to throw the bottle, and they look up at you and they start shouting in Spanish, and they are particularly sort of angry at that as you stand there in the starkers. Yeah.
I mean, I look down at everything and I'm just no, still fucking alive then. Fine. I shut the door and I go and just have a shower, put on some clothes. Do I actually do see Robert walking in or not?
Just for narrative's sake, yeah. So you see him begrudgingly looking and checking each hotel as he walks up and down, trying to work out, where the fuck am I? And he walks past,
turning around,
walks
scratching
back,
my ass.
Yeah.
walks back.
Before I close the windows and go for a shower, I'd look down at him and oi, Poncho boy, we're in fucking here, okay?
I hear a voice and I keep on spinning around, but because you're higher than me, I have no idea where you are. And I'm so drunk, I don't realise that looking up would be the way to solve this problem.
Robert, up here. Look up, boy.
Is this Jesus? I finally kind of look up and say, hey, waving, hey.
It's not Jesus, boy, it's Jacob. Now, Get in, and we'll go see your academic friend. Otherwise, also put some fucking pants on, boy. I say, completely naked. Then I shut the windows. Then I go for a shower.
Yeah, I guess at that point I figure out how to get into my hotel and walk upstairs, get myself sorted the best I can because I know I'm going back out again. But yeah.
Okay. What's everyone else doing?
I'll wake up. Maybe lay out all my clothes on the bed, then go have a shower. Then put all the clothes on, and then sit and pray, and just mentally prepare for the day. I presume we had some sort of time that we were gonna go see this guy that we all talked about, or
Yeah, so he said that he'd come by and get you within in the morning.
okay, I'll just wait. Sorry, I had a stupid. My page may explode here. 2 seconds. No, okay. It did. Sorry, a message saying it was unresponsive. I was like, I don't think so. Yeah, I'll just spend my time praying and get myself ready for the day.
Okay. Oh, sorry, I pressed buttons by accident. Okay. So after so after a couple of hours, I suppose you managed to get breakfast from the hotel, and it's sort of hearty, reasonably spicy sausage and rice, which is oddly strange for a breakfast. And then sort of closing to maybe 10 o'clock in the morning, Jackson comes and meets you within the lobby, and sort of greets you all. Good morning, everyone. Fantastic to see you. How are you all? And he looks reasonably concerned at the state that Robert's currently in.
Good, thank you.
I had the most amazing evening.
Did you really?
I've met some delightful people, and I've kind of go into a story of how we ended up at the weirdest house in the world, and we were playing music I'd never heard and dancing, and how I woke up in the morning and vomited all over the steps, and I'm excited about it but hungover at the same time.
Okay.
So when you're telling your drunken stories to people, it's one of those type of things. So I'm embellishing on it and making things bigger than what it sounded. So I'm really excited about the fact that I've had this amazing night.
Well, that is marvellous. Aren't you such a hoot? If only I could have been there. And he kind of catches up with you, talks about how your night was, general chit-chat. So, I believe Professor Sanchez is awaiting us. Shall we make our way?
Of course.
Indeed.
He leads you outside, and there are 2 reasonably sized tut-tuts waiting for you both, waiting for all of you. And he signals for you to get in, and they noisily and quite hairily make their way across the city. As you go through poorer parts. You can see parts where dogs are chained up, people are sitting on the street outside odd kind of like very small stalls and stands, to back to kind of reasonably well settled areas, and they're quite affluent. And before long you start to arrive at quite a large university park, so it's quite nice. It's very well maintained, and in front of you you can see the campus, and there's a large building as the tut-tuts pull outside, of a 2-story stone building that's been painted yellow, and on the top of it it sort of says Universidad Nacional Maya de San Marcos. Does anyone speak Spanish? No. Okay, so what only you can assume Universidad and San Marcos, roughly, rings a bell. And over the top of it, it says founded in 1551. strangely in English. Alongside the main building, there looks to be a different one that has the title of Museo de Arqueologia y Antropologia. Okay. And Jackson gets out and he pays the tuk-tuk drivers and ushers you into the main building.
Can I just make like an intelligence check to understand that? Because it's relatively close to the English anyway.
Bear me 2 seconds. I'm just thinking. Quite sure.
Or an education, maybe?
Technically, it would be a language, which is in the other skills.
It's like a language other, so like 0.1%.
Yeah, but let me think. You can have a hard intelligence roll. So 20. No. This means nothing to you. You are too busy thinking about when the next drink's going to come to be concerned with what exactly these buildings mean. The fact that you got up this morning was an achievement in itself, let alone get here.
Yes. I'm not going to dispute that in the slightest.
Isn't it marvelous, gentlemen? It's such a fantastic building.
Old building. Boring fucks, you know. Same as, same old. You must love it here, Robert.
It's absolutely amazing. The architecture's so much different to where it is back home.
I wish I'd never asked. Come on then.
It is, Robert, and I suppose it is one of the oldest seat of higher learning in all of the Americas. You would be delighted to know.
That is completely fascinating. Jacob, how can you not appreciate what a fantastic building this is and the history that's here? Imagine all the minds that have been educated coming through these doors.
And he starts to he starts to go up the wide steps that lead up to the predominantly the main part of the building, going into the one that is titled Universidad. And he leans over to you, Robert, and he goes, looking a bit peaky there, boy. And he passes you one of his handkerchiefs as you don't look too great.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. I'm sure I'll struggle through this affliction, but what an evening. And then I kind of burp and be sick a little bit in my mouth.
Okay. Ooh.
Yeah.
As you go into the building, it's a lot cooler inside. Already kind of the heat is starting to take its hold outside, but inside it's nice and cool, and this is predominantly because everything is made out of stone. As you go in, it's reasonably quiet. There are a few would-be students walking about, milling about, but it's quite a nice grand building. It's not everything's made out of marble, but it's solid stone, and you can hear the dark sort of I guess concrete as people are walking and echoes out. And Jackson quite confidently leads you winding through various corridors, and as you go past there are busts of previous professors and historians, occasional nice elegant painting that looks like it could do with a touch-up. And you go past a series of doors with sort of bronze plaques on them until you reach a door that says Prof. Sanchez, and he gives a nice rap on the door. So, and upon opening the door, you see a man stood in front of you, and he's slim, he's quite dapper, and he's got very neatly oiled hair slicked back and a very nicely well-groomed close beard. He's wearing glasses, and he's dressed in a suit. And surprisingly, considering the name, his accent certainly doesn't fit his Spanish name. Ah, gentlemen, I have been expecting you. Fantastic. Please come in. He recognizes, you can see on his face, he recognizes Jackson, but he kind of takes a moment to look at you each as you all go through. politely holding out his hand and welcoming you in.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Professor Sanchez. My name's Robert Dixon. I'm from the University of... have you decided?
Ah, lovely. Fantastic to meet you. I'm very glad to see you here.
Is there an obvious drinks cabinet inside his office?
There's not.
I walk in and I look for one. Can I spot hidden?
Yes. Okay, you find that it does appear there is definitely no alcohol here.
I sit down.
Okay. Jackson, you did not tell me we'd have more guests. I would have provided appropriately. I thought it was just ourselves. And Jackson kind of tips his hat and smirks a little bit. Well, you know, always doing research. So the room itself is very airy. It's a nice tall ceilinged room with white walls, and as you look around, all the shelves are full of books and a mismatch of artifacts. A large hardwood desk dominates the majority of the room, and it's piled high with papers and books and journals. And the windows themselves are open now that it's sort of a summery period in Peru to air out the room. So, gentlemen, what is it that I can do for you today?
I mean, I won't lie, I just came here because our friend said that you would be able to shine some light on the expedition that we are going on. We're told that you were turned down.
Oh, I was indeed. Time and time again I've asked this Larkin if we could go and assist him, but it would seem that he's trying to duck and dive as some kind of huqueros and take all these artifacts himself.
I mean, what is it exactly that you study, or that you are a professor of?
Archaeology, boy. Archaeology.
Well, it seems rather strange that you wouldn't want a professor of archaeology with him.
Clearly looking to capitalize on the gains, I would believe.
Obviously.
Are you interested in the artifacts?
Certainly. As far as I can tell, no one has looked at this site. There could be huge amounts to discover, and certainly would provide me with a few papers to publish, if you know what I mean.
I kind of...
Would you be in the market to purchase?
Say that again, I missed that, James.
Would you be in the market to purchase anything we find?
Who knows? The museum next door is always looking for donations. I have a small collection myself, but I'm more interested in the finding and the researching. I'm less of someone to flog at auction.
Have you ever met Larkin in person?
I have before, strange man. Not had too much dealings with him though.
And did he give a reason for him not wanting you on the expedition at all?
Not in particularly, he just merely rebuffed me time and time again. I've tried multiple avenues, such as having the university approach him, myself, my assistant, but to no avail.
My opinion is that you should just come along anyway. If he's kind of weak and scrawny, and we've got Smith.
Confrontation isn't really my forte, you see, but I'm not necessarily interested in doing as he does. I just want to know about the pyramid itself. He won't even disclose the location to me.
I mean, we're leaving on the 21st. If you wanted me to try and smuggle you there, I'll be driving in convoy.
Smuggle me. And he
I've smuggled things before. I don't know why you're laughing at me so much.
I
literally turned to Jackson. I'm like, the fuck is he laughing at me for?
And he kind of like sorts out his suit a little bit, and he looks like he's too well off, too kind of like smug and snobby to be someone to be smuggled. This kind of looks like the person who you couldn't see putting on gearing up to go on an expedition, but merely oversee it.
I can kind of understand why he doesn't want you there. And I get up and I
Right.
walk towards the door.
And he shoots Jackson a look, but doesn't intervene with you leaving.
I don't leave. I just walk over and stand by the door.
Yeah, but he doesn't like make any kind of question.
So, is there anything else you can tell us about Larkin and the expedition? Anything that we need to know? I mean, this is the opportunity of a lifetime. I don't want to be missing anything.
Certainly, I have one of my students, Trinidad Rizzo, looking into it. She's currently going through the university library and the archives for any possible information about this pyramid. They have an old document dating from the mid-16th century about a conquistador named Gaspar Figueroa, which may refer to the site in question. It's been difficult to read and difficult to translate and get the pertinent details, but she's almost finished.
I would be delighted to meet this lady and discuss this, if that's obviously okay. I don't want to be treading on anyone's toes.
No, not at all. Mr. Dixon?
Dixon, yes, Robert Dixon.
Trinidad was due to join us, but she should be here by now. I suppose she had to go look for a related artifact in the storeroom under the museum, but she should be back by now.
Would you like me to go find her? What does she look like?
You are more than happy to go find her if you wish. I have a few things to attend to myself, but certainly if you are in a rush.
I mean, I don't intend to stand here all day and wait for your student to get back, frankly. So we'll go find her.
I see. I apologize for the wait and the inconvenience, sir.
No inconvenience.
Oh, not at all. It's been fascinating. What a beautiful building. It must be amazing coming here to work every day.
Yes, it's quite. I suppose is there anything else I can help before I give you the directions?
No, you can't.
I'm sure there's a million questions we should be asking, but my brain has just gone.
I'm just sitting there like, he can't even help us with, the research that he's found. How the hell's he going to help us with anything else?
I mean, frankly, the best you could probably do is provide us with some detailed environment information, maybe a map of the area, something that our patron won't actually have access to, You've got an entire library, don't you?
We do indeed, and you are more than welcome to go look. I'm sure there are maps closer of the area of the Puno area in the Highlands.
Like a man that spends much of his life in the library.
But that's where you find all the information, Jacob. Surely, a man of your history and means has been there to find. So many fascinating things. So surely you've been to the library to pick those jewels out.
I've been to the library of life, boy.
Is the membership difficult to get?
Yes, you have to not be a total dick. So,
really?
Not
for the professor, not for Jacob. And I think my membership might be in the post for the University of Life. My field is history and folklore. Can you tell me anything about the sort of? I know there's the idea of the boogeyman translates into every culture. So, what can you tell me about how that links to where we're going?
Of course. Obviously, I do not believe in the Carisi and the ancient gods that have a similar sort of root of folklore in these parts. And he kind of goes on to tell you about similar to what Jesse Jackson said to you last night, except he gives more details about kind of the particular Carisi themselves. So they are very similar in nature to vampires. Except they suck fat, not blood. They convert people by putting a lava into someone else's mouth. And very similar to characteristics to vampires.
I mean, I hope
Fascinating.
they exist. That'd be great. Just take a bit of the fat around right here. Just
How that story can move from islands to Peru and the rest of sort of civilization. It's amazing that these things travel and that don't you feel that there has to be not a vampire but some truth, some nugget of truth somewhere that people are latching onto.
Well, that's what I was talking about last night, Robert. I do believe that these are people committing murders. Some sort of cult. I don't believe there's any superstitious nature to it.
That was my smug laugh.
Okay. So yeah, he tells you about the folklore and sort of how Carisi and Jackson chips in about what I've just said about terms of like he thinks it's a cult rather than sort of a superstitious nature, how similar they are to vampires. And as time goes on, he gets more and more concerned about kind of, well, where is Rizzo? Where is Trinidad? She should have been gone now. And he sort of makes comments under his breath and just tutting every now and again.
all right.
If she's anything like me, she'll have forgotten the time and she'll be in the library. Point me in the direction. I'll go have a look for her myself.
Well, it's directly underneath this office. You just have to come out and take the long staircase down the corridor, and you'll find the storeroom down there. I imagine that's where she's gone to find these artifacts to have a quick look at.
And how will I recognise this lady? Because obviously I have no idea what she looks like.
Of course. She's an energetic young student, dark curly hair. I quite like her infectious smile, truth be told. But she's quite young, black of skin. You'll know.
Fabulous. Does any of you gentlemen care to accompany me?
I mean,
Not really.
I
but
don't really want to stay in this stuffy office. What is it she was looking for?
Well, she was looking for some papers for me, specifically to this conversation about the pyramid themselves. I thought I'd have some more details to give you, and I think she was cross-referencing some of the artifacts we had to embellish it more.
Can you tell us exactly where that location they should be? Like, is there a reference that we should be looking for to find her? Or
Well, that's what she was looking for, sir.
I see. Let us go then.
Let's go be the babysitters.
Okay.
Come, Jekyll. I'll show you the exciting world of the library for all its joy. It's a frontier that I'm sure we can conquer together.
Can't wait, Robert. And then walk out the door.
And
Even Jax doesn't give a shit, boy. Go on.
as
I'll follow you.
As you're getting up to leave, Jackson kind of moves over to Sanchez, and he goes, "A minute, if you will." And they start to have a conversation. Seemingly, he's not following.
Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of quite enthusiastically make my way towards where the library would be.
Okay. So as you come out of you go into sort of onto the main hallway, and at the end of the corridor to your right, there is a staircase.
Okay. Come on, gentlemen. It's down this way, and I'm kind of bounding towards the staircase.
I follow him.
Grudgingly follow.
Okay.
And I check the hallways just to see if there's anyone else like kind of following with us.
No one's coming with you. There are academics going in and out of offices.
No one seemingly watching us. There's four guys in a... No?
No.
Cool. I follow them.
Yeah. So as you get to the top of the staircase, you can see that down there it is a spiral staircase with metal with kind of, like the missing slats in between. And as you go down, it makes that solid kind of like ting, ting, ting as you're going down. And sort of there's an echo as you're going down, and it probably equates to going down 2 stories, but there's no story in between for you to get off. And as you go down, the lights sort of get worse in quality. They ever so slightly kind of like flicker, and they've got that kind of poor electrical hum to them as there's.
But they are electrical.
But they are electrical. And as you get to the bottom, there's a quite a dimly lit corridor. And anyone want to make a listen roll?
Also, I want to make a listen roll.
Who's good at listen? Who's got the better listen before we all start rolling for it?
Not me, I don't think.
Mine's rubbish.
Okay.
He
Good
seems
spot
to be Jacob because he's a hunter.
Yeah.
You would have thought so, wouldn't you?
So.
But no.
Can I push the roll? Like, I get to the bottom, it's silent. I don't hear anything immediately. Can I like go into like almost a hunting kind of like focus and just like crouch into that like hunting pose and just like completely in the wrong environment to like be in this kind of like immediate stalking situation, but it's silent in here. I assume it's like a library, right? And there's like that like painful buzz, and I just want to like
okay,
like just don't feel comfortable because he doesn't feel comfortable in a library.
Okay. Yeah. So roll again, try and get into 26. Okay. So
that's how you do it, boys.
As you get down, you can hear the dim hum of the lighting, and sort of almost behind you, you can hear this. And all that overshadows everything else is the laboured breath of Robert as he is looking particularly sweaty, and frustratingly, you can't hear anything else but him.
I'm just like, real fucking quiet in here, Robert. You're making.
Do you know, some people they always mistake that libraries are spooky places. I never see that myself. And I'm kind of bounding around, and yeah. I'm happy as Larry.
So
I think Jacob's still like super on edge.
Okay.
Like if the only thing he can hear is Robert's breathing, it's a weird place for such a big chamber.
Okay. So moving down the hallway, it's particularly dusty. There's a few cobwebs, but it is a well-travelled kind of place. It just looks unkept because it's kind of not on show. And you can see that there are a couple of doors. One sort of says, well, I suppose it's all in Spanish. So there are a few doors, and there's one door on the sort of middle right that is ajar, and light is coming out of it.
Just go straight to that then. Don't need to hang around, in my opinion. I'll just walk up and open the door.
I proceed pretty like carefully, I guess.
Okay.
I'm kind of going through, looking at the shelves, and probably being really disappointed because everything's in Spanish.
Okay. Okay.
I don't feel threatened at all. We're in a library.
Okay. So as you sort of, tell me the marching order.
I'll go in.
I'm
Okay.
kind of coming, but I'll be near the back because I'm preoccupied.
Yeah.
I'm at the back, like literally keeping rear guard, like making sure that the people in front of me are like doing whatever they're doing, but I'm like checking behind me.
Okay.
We're in a library.
Yeah,
You're
all right.
paranoid.
Don't like it. Too quiet in here, boys.
Okay. So Jax, sorry, did you say you were at the front?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So as you open the door, you can see inside that it is a large cavernous room. It's quite oblong in shape, sort of 80 feet by 45 feet. It's big, and it's filled with evenly spaced rows from sort of floor to the ceiling of shelves. They're packed with crates, in boxes, in bags, and a huge variety of odd items, artifacts, all sort of historical importance, and they're all kind of like neatly labelled, and in comparison to the hallway, everything's here is nice and clean. It's really well kept. There's a dim kind of electric lighting and it's quite difficult to see very far into the storeroom because of the shelves. Yeah, what do you do?
Walk in, say Trinidad, like maybe call out Trinidad. See what happens. Like I'm not expecting anything, so I'll just go in, call out a name, and then I don't know, wait for the others to walk in, and whilst looking around the room and making my way through the chamber.
Okay, so as you start to sort of make your way through the chamber, there's no response to the call out. And as you're sort of walking along, there's various shadows that kind of move. It gets very kind of claustrophobic as you start to squeeze between boxes that kind of stick out, and it's a little bit too cramped and close for comfort. What do you do?
Probably. What's pulled out? The box, like boxes.
Like some of the boxes are too wide, sort of they overhang.
Are they quite well stuck in, so I can't push them out? As I push them back in, I can't barge past them.
You can certainly get past them. Sometimes you just have to sort of go side on sometimes and squeeze past and shimmy every now and again.
I'm not sure how much I would like that. I might just get annoyed and not care and just try and push.
Okay.
But otherwise, I'm not worried or anything. We're in a library, and it's a weird part of the library, but I mean, still happy to walk along. Where am I going anyway? Is this is there some obvious location? Like, is another door or something? Or
No, it's just kind of all you can see is just shelves, rows and rows and rows of shelves. What's everyone else doing whilst he's kind of just started to go down?
I'm kind of making my way towards the room. Again, I'm preoccupied because this is a new space and it's something to do with academia, which is kind of a safe thing for me. And it's exciting to see something new. And again, it's as much as I'm hungover, I'm also really eager to see what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of making decent pace, but every now and again stopping and looking what's going on around and looking at the books.
Okay.
I'm going to let them go in the room without following because I don't think I'm going to fit easily.
Okay.
Being significantly bigger than them, it looks like it's a tight squeeze and it's just going to be embarrassing. So.
Okay. Jacob?
I'll go in the room.
In the room? Okay.
If James hadn't stayed outside, I'd have stayed outside.
Okay.
But if James is staying outside, he can watch our backs.
Okay.
And I'll go in.
Jacob, Jax, and Robert, please make a luck roll.
can we do /luck? That'd be really cool. No.
Who, me? Do I need
No.
to?
Yeah.
I was wondering whether or not
everyone
we could commands or whatever.
Hey.
Oh, lucky.
I hate fucking likelies.
Okay. Robert, as you're kind of going through and you sort of turn the corner at one of the far ends of one of these shelves, you see that there is half a body half buried under a pile of artifacts that's been pulled off the shelves.
I kind of look. And do I think it is a dead body or do I think it's somebody who's collapsed?
So it takes you, there's a moment of sort of shock and fear as your adrenaline starts to rush and you look and kind of almost immediately you realise this is some sort of body, not someone who's collapsed. If you look closely, there's sort of, as you kind of look up and down, just below where some of the books and artifacts are caved over her head that have fallen off, her body is emaciated, it's partly mummified, and there's a large disc of flesh that's torn from the upper part of her chest. Her face is shriveled and sort of frozen masks just staring at you.
I'm guessing with the state that I'm in, I would probably have to make a constitution roll and see if I keep my stomach in.
As well as a sanity roll, please, sir.
It's a con roll.
Okay. Immediately, you whatever is left, the small part of water that you managed to get in this morning, comes back out as it dribbles down and splatters over the floor, and the rest of you can hear this.
I'm going to turn around and
Yeah.
just stop.
Oh, my word.
Okay. There is no... So you don't take any sanity loss.
Nope. I'm kind of... At that point, I kind of fall backwards. I'm kind of pointing. I'm not really saying much because I'm half covered in vomit and I'm not really. I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I guess I swiftly make my way to the noise of disturbance.
Okay. Upon getting there, Jacob, the smell of vomit does not sit well with you at all, the state that you're in as well.
I look at you, Robert, and I'm like, handle your fucking self, Robert. We're going to do this together, then I thoroughly expect you to be able to handle your booze. As I get distracted by the fact that I see the body.
Okay.
I'm going to walk over and then sort of look at Robert disapprovingly and then step over, find a path to the puke, and then maybe crouch down and inspect the dead body. I assume I won't be immediately shocked by seeing a dead body, and then but maybe this one in particular.
Yes, this one in particular. The way that her face is frozen in sort of a look of shock. Yeah, please make a SAM roll. And you too, Jacob. James, did you come far enough? Have you gone to the body, or are you still at the door?
No, I'm still at the door.
Okay, you're fine. Jax.
But if someone shouts, I will come in, but I'm...
And you're fine too. Everyone is all right with their bodies. So, Jax, you seem to be doing the most exploring, so have a look, do a spot hidden for me, please.
Okie dokie. Should just keep the character sheet up.
I'm thinking as well you'll get the bonus dice for this.
Oh, okay. I'll just roll. No, there's no point because it's 45. It's miles off.
Okay. So what you can see that's quite easy to see at this point is that there is a notebook poking out from her jacket, and there's also a smashed wooden box.
Okay. I'll maybe take them out and is it easy to throw these items towards Jakob rather than and not hit all the puke?
Yeah, reasonably so. So the notebook you can kind of frisbee, can't you? But what you do, you want to chuck the smashed remains of the wooden crate.
Oh, okay. No, I'll chuck the notepad for sure, and then I think I'll rather do like a medical check on her, and try and see cause of death as far as I can tell.
Sure.
But apart from that, yeah, I'm not gonna throw smashed remains of something. I'll obviously tell Jakob about it, but
Okay. Do you want to do your medicine roll?
oh, 2 cents.
Okay. All that you can tell is there is a massive... You are unfamiliar with the lacerations that have sort of carved out this circular hole. It's probably easy to tell that it's roughly about 5 inches wide into sort of across. You can't work out what it is that's serrated it, but clearly it's gone into her chest quite deep. You're unsure if that's the cause of death.
I'm kind of...
You are unsure if that is the cause of death, boy.
I didn't say anything, you massive dick.
I know. That wasn't in character, even though I said it in character. I'm sorry. No.
That's how he talks now.
Yeah.
Yes, I am method. That is what happens. No.
You got the book.
Yeah, you threw me the book. I guess. I look at the book and I'm just like, Robert, you think you're up to reading this? Are you going to throw up over it?
I'm sorry, Jacob. I had quite a shock there. That poor girl. Yes, show me the book. Show me the book.
I hand you the book.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Obviously, my guy doesn't forget his manners.
Okay.
He's kind of scamming through the book, seeing what it is.
Okay.
I'm guessing it's the notes of what we were expecting to find.
So you managed to find, it looks like she's been making her own notes, and it's some sort of translation and sort of putting it together, and I will add this to your
Thank you.
items. Did that pop up?
Yes, it
Yes.
is.
Yeah.
Excellent. I'll give you a minute to read. You can zoom in by clicking it.
From my old eyes. It's hard for me to read sometimes.
That does not bode well, does it?
No, I don't like the idea that Mendoza's here.
No. If it is the same Mendoza.
I mean,
Very disturbing.
it's quite odd, but also, you know, I don't like coincidences, let's put it that way.
No, especially with the rumors that are about him. If he is some kind of... I mean, what are we talking about? He's just a man.
He's definitely a man. However, he also doesn't look like a man who eats fat.
No, exactly. Let me... Everything just went black for a second. No, that's good. Alright, let me have a look at that body. And I like stop
Only
it
come.
and have a look. Can I roll biology?
Yeah.
I can't roll biology, no.
You don't know anything in the natural world that do anything like this, and the fact that this lady looks very, very skinny, very, very emaciated, and almost mummified. It wouldn't look like she looks like almost like it had been there for a while. Apart from the blood is fresh, it doesn't add up.
This doesn't make any sense.
Well,
No animal I know would do this. And I don't think any man can do this, so...
No, in all
Looks
your
more like
experience
he's
of
been
hunting,
dead for a
this
long time.
in all your experience of hunting, this is not an animal.
No.
Anything that you've seen, but
the only thing that would make sense is what's written in this book, or that book, point towards the book.
Yes. Can I make a track roll
yes,
to
you
see
can.
if I can see anything leading away?
This is what happens if you drink this much, okay?
Not like there's got to be something. Like people don't just explode and then become husks in a moment. Can I push the roll somehow? Let me think.
Tell me how.
Whilst he does this, I'm gonna close our eyes
Okay.
and then make the what do you call it? Christian symbol.
Okay.
And then maybe
It's-
walk off.
Yeah, it's
It's
particularly
clean in
difficult.
here, right? It's not
Um,
dusty like outside.
It's not
While
dusty.
that's going on, I kind of get out of the room and I explain what is happening to James, who is outside the room and hasn't seen any of this.
Okay.
I explain how horrific it is. Tell him to steel himself if he's going to see it. And apologise for the fact I'm covered in vomit.
Okay.
I'm going to hand Robert a canteen of water and just stand there.
Okay.
There's not really much to do. With a slightly concerned look on my face, but I'm obviously not having seen it and just having him come out in a bit of a state.
How do you take that news of such an oddity in a library and
Yeah, as something unusual, let's say, but not interesting. Let's say I'm not
not particularly fazed by it?
Well, I'm not unfazed, but it's yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I think we knew something strange was going on. Possibly not that strange, but I haven't seen the body, so
Yeah.
I've only got a vomit-covered man to tell me about it.
Jacob, it is clean in there. However,
with my
there's
failed
blood
track
from
roll.
there.
Yeah, exactly. With my failed track roll, is it that I'm just not seeing any footprints, or like, like how? What am I not seeing that I'm? If that makes sense. Like, what's obviously the thing that I'm not seeing that would be an obvious thing to track? If I can ask that question,
I can't tell you that.
Can't tell me that.
But
Okay.
but
For pushing the roll, though, for pushing the roll without metagaming, perhaps
It's
the
not-
fact that I've gone out there and I no longer infected him with the stink of vomit might give him the bit of concentration that he
There's
needs.
still vomit.
It's not that. It's more.
Tell me
If
what you're
there's- if there's
trying to look for.
if there's
What would you
not
be tracking?
obvious-
What would you
if
be?
There's not obviously footsteps, which is like the first indication of things that I would look for, of something like being here and walking away. So there's no immediate trail. I would look for the same kind of deal as you would track something outside, where you would look for things shifted on shelves, like something pushed past, or something that's like climbed over things, something that's elsewhere.
Right,
So
I'll let you roll on that.
Okay,
Roll on
cool.
that, because that's good.
Not good enough.
Not good enough. Okay. Yeah, unfortunately, with the way this room is set up, the things that have fallen off the shelves, the blood is in a mess in no particular pattern. You can't see anything of use.
Sure.
through
I
there.
just like look up at Jackson. I'm just like, I fucking hate libraries. Places. People fucking die in these places.
And in the background, there's kind of, it's a seat of knowledge.
It's a seat of.
Okay. I'm gonna take. I'm gonna have a closer look at the smashed remains of a box
Yeah. Okay.
and see if there's anything obvious.
So it looks as though the crate is packed with straw, and there's something kind of in it and under it.
Okay, I'll have a rummage. I'm not too
Okay.
worried about it.
So there looks like there's a large piece of worked gold in there, which to you
Means very little.
looks like this.
Am I assuming we've all just read the same story about the inlaid gold being put out and then everybody dying horribly?
Something
Well, I
like
haven't read it technically.
So the worked gold is around kind of 2 feet in length and 3 inches wide, and as you kind of turn it over in your hands, it's rough, both of the ends, as though it was sort of ripped from a larger design. It kind of weighs about 11 kilograms, so it's quite heavy when
What's
you
this,
hold it in
sorry?
your hands. Sorry?
Is that the golden ward that you just put in?
Yes.
Okay.
It's largely straight, although 4 of the sections jut out at sort of angles and spurs, or often squared spirals, and it's imprinted with a series of non-repeating geometric shapes, mostly squares and rectangles, with no kind of obvious meaning to them.
How big is it in comparison to the straw that was in there?
In
Is
comparison
it-
to
was
the
it-
straw?
Yeah, was it quite obvious that there was something in there? Or did
Yeah,
it
yeah,
possible?
yeah. Oh, yeah. So you're sort of talking like a 3 foot by kind of by a foot box, and that is the biggest thing in there, definitely.
Okay, so
Well,
it's
the-
not like this obviously wasn't a mugging, is what I'm trying to get across, because it wasn't like they broke open the box and went, "Oh crap, I can't find it. Now I need to leave."
No,
They would have obviously found it, and then
no. Do a spot hidden whilst you're looking through it.
can I pass a roll? No. What? I'll spend 1 luck.
You're going to spend a luck.
Yeah.
Okay. So reduce your luck by 1. So as you're kind of holding up to your eyes and you're really sort of looking at it, it looks as though there's some freshly burnt skin on it, but the gold's cold to the touch.
Okay, it's interesting. I'll relay that to everyone.
Okay.
Or to everyone nearby.
Is there like with a roll, if needed, is there a space that this box clearly came from, or are there too many things on the floor that have been pulled off the shelves covering her?
It's too difficult to tell where from.
Sure.
There's a big gap above.
Yeah.
Whether that was there or not is hard to tell.
Okay. Can I have a look as to what is adjacent to those to the space, as it were? Like what's still on the shelves?
Yeah, sure. There's a range of different artifacts that kind of link predominantly. You're gonna have to make a roll because you're not gonna know where these are from.
What can I roll?
History or archaeology.
Okay.
Okay. So as far as you can tell, they're very old. There's been lots of different stuff that there's a couple of labels such as Bolivian and stuff like that, but apart from that, you don't really know. The dates kind of are from 1500s, mid sort of 1500s is what's on the front of the box. But apart from that, nothing.
Nothing else here, boys. Maybe we should go and inform somebody to let them know that she is dead.
Seems like a good idea. I'm not too sure what we can do about it.
No.
Definitely take these builds and the artifact upstairs, but
Well, that poor girl. We need to tell the right people to get this sorted out.
Yes. Can I, thinking about it, like looking at her one last time, can I kneel down and like, she's got like a big old hole in her chest, right? Can I like, is it dry on the inside or is it bloody on the inside?
It's bloody.
Like, so poking in, she looks emaciated and like husked out, but it's still bloody on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Can I like poke her in the face?
Yeah. It's
Is
it's
dry or squishy or
it like a really overdone steak, really solid. Like if you push up on your cheekbone there,
yeah,
all of it is like that. Like even on there, it's like that.
I mean, rest well. Rest well. And I get up and I leave. I guess, like wiping my hand on like random boxes.
Okay.
yeah, I'd say we get out of here.
Yes. If there's something that's able to do this to a woman like that in a library, I say we get out of here. I'm not even armed.
Cool. Walk past James on the way out, and that's Smith, and I'll relay the fact that Robert decided to empty his stomach all over a dead person. The dead person was basically sucked dry, a bit like the stories. Otherwise,
Yes, but that's exactly it is like the stories. She wasn't.
So I'm a little more
blood.
concerned now that this is coming from a rational person.
Okay.
I will also mention that it's not a good idea to go in there unless you'd like seeing scary, weird stuff. Is not for the faint-hearted, as Robert will have shown.
I mean, you brought the artifact with you, didn't you, Jax?
Yeah, this thing.
Yes, that thing. Good. There's no reason for us to go back in there then.
Well, apart from, the young girl and...
There's no reason for us to go back in there then, is there?
Alright.
Let's get out of this library now.
Okay.
I look at Robert and I'm just like, are you done? Or do you want to stay here in the seat of all knowledge?
Well, well, if we hadn't come down, we wouldn't have found the dead girl. So I think we learned something coming down here. I'm kind of cleaning myself up, and this is not how I imagine my day going, gentlemen.
Yes, I learned even in the face of death, you can't handle your drink. Bobby, absolutely.
To be fair, I had a lot to drink.
To be fair, so did I.
Let's just get out before these two fight.
Yeah, Dad. Wrestled at college, man. Wrestled at college.
Sure, and then pat Robert on the back and walk off in the direction that we came.
Okay.
I kind of dry heave at the contact and then,
Note to self, never touch Robert again.
I'll have another last look round the room and then follow them out.
Right.
Not that room, the room we're in. So not the
corridor.
Room the girls. Yeah.
Right. Make one hard spot hidden roll. So you're going to try and get
all
between
of us,
the
or
middle number. Just James. Okay. So that's a fail from the middle number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you could spend 8 luck if you really wanted to, but it might be a bit early in game to do that.
Day one.
Yeah, I only spent 1 luck because it was
One.
Yeah. Okay. So So where are you going? What are you doing?
I'm going to go and find somewhere to sit outside.
I think I'm going to go straight back to the dude's office, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So coming up the top of the stairs, as you get over there, you see that Jackson is walking back. So you're both coming from the end of the corridor to come back into the main office. He looks flustered. He looks concerned.
Looks like so on you go, Joe.
No, it's okay. You go, Jax. Don't worry about me.
What's wrong with you? Did you see a dead person?
Someone outside. They were attacked. I ran out to the screams, and they've been stabbed. They're taken care of now, though. Some people are taking them over to the hospital.
They alive?
Yes, just a big bloody wound on them.
It's a shame. You should go to the library and see a dead person if you want.
Excuse me, Jax?
The girl, she's dead. Suck dry. We're gonna go back to the office now.
And he can't deal with your deadpanness. He's like, of course. And he kind of looks around for reassurance from the others.
I just look at him and I was like, he's not lying, boy. She's dead down there.
I'm kind of looking down at my vomit-stained shirt, going, Jackson, I wouldn't go in there. It's very much not a sight you need to see.
And he kind of looks you up and down as he sees the vomit. He's like, oh my, what do we do?
Oh, I suppose we probably call the police. No?
Yes, I'm not sure how local law enforcement is around here, but of course.
I think we better tell the professor too. I think he seemed to like the girl. We think it is the girl we went to see, but there's not much left of her.
Okay. Upon doing so, he starts to move, kind of not really thinking, but just acting. He goes towards the door, and he doesn't knock. He just opens and goes in, leaving the door ajar with him. Are you following?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So as you kind of go in, immediately you can see on the floor that Sanchez is lying in the center of the room, writhing on the floor in pain.
What?
I knew you had some alcohol in here, boy. Where is it?
He's writhing in agony. He's on the floor, screaming out, kind of like. Ugh!
Can I see if I can help?
Okay. How are you trying to help?
First aid.
First aid. Yeah. Okay. So immediately, kind of on real sort of, I suppose, close as you get up to him, close inspection, you can see that there's traces of rancid white waxy secretions around his mouth, and he's kind of there is something there moving, like it's about that inch, is sort of moving underneath the skin, writhing, and it looks almost as if it's going down. Roll your first aid.
Do I want to, no?
Okay. So despite trying to kind of sit him up, start Heimlich maneuvering him, nothing is coming. And you can see like this thing is sort of moving down and down. As he's up close to you, all that he keeps saying over again is, oh, he kissed me. He kissed me.
I don't want to know about what you do in the bedroom, boy. I assume he has a letter opener on his desk?
Yeah.
I grab a letter opener, and if there's something literally moving in his chest, I literally just like go to dig it out, I guess.
Okay.
Can I put my hand on Jakob's hand when he's got the thing and just go, let the professional do it?
I hand it to you.
Yeah. And then I'll in a kind of
slice that mother open.
in a hurried way to push Smith out of the way.
Okay. So
and then attempt to
make a medicine check.
Yeah. Prepare for the 50-50 doctor, also known as trauma doc.
Oh no, sorry, that's first aid roll. I was looking at. I'm thinking 85. Ooh, he's hitting that right.
You just cut his...
Okay, remember the medical training. Downward motion. Downward motion.
Okay, so you dig it into his chest, and as you're sort of trying to move it up and down, this thing is kind of continuously on the move, so it's quite hard to, one, stab it, and two, kind of like make a good enough incision that you'd be able to get it out, and it continues to move.
Alright, what would you do in that situation?
I'd tell you to fucking try again. This man's got, like, can I make what would it be? A roll to see whether or not it looks like it's moving to the same point as the chest wound on the girl?
It's quite obvious it's past that point.
It's past that point. So
it started, but it is working its way down, like almost imagine kind of like what you can see is like an over, like, you know, those big grubs.
Yeah.
But we're talking like
Don't worry,
6 inches.
I got the image perfectly in my head from the big grubs. Yeah, no, I got it.
I'm gonna try and push the roll, and I'm gonna do it by telling Jacob and Smith to hold him down so he's not moving so much whilst I make the cut.
Okay.
Can I assist with a biology roll to see, like, or a natural world roll to know if I know anything about this kind of like a grub that would bore into people? Because I assume that's something I've probably come across, right?
We'll do that separately, but Jax, you can have a bonus dice for your assisting James and Jacob assisting you.
Right, I'll just do the green one and then see how close it is.
Yeah.
That's super close, everyone.
So regardless, he is moving too much.
Killing somebody.
He's writhing in far too much agony.
I just like, I look at James and I'm like, knock him the fuck out.
What's that gonna do?
He's been stabbed twice now, and he's got something in him that's clearly causing him pain. He'll stop moving, won't he? It'll be easier. Knock him the fuck out, James.
Jacob, do you want to make your world knowledge sort of roll? Or whatever that's
do you want
nature?
natural world?
Let me just look at your sheet for a second.
I rolled natural world.
Okay. What did you get?
I failed.
No. Okay. You've not come across anything like this.
Nothing this big. Like maybe like little larva that like.
Yeah, like bot flies and stuff like that, but not like this.
Nothing that's like.
Not like this.
He's still awake, right?
Did you try and knock him out?
No, not yet. I want to ask him immediately who kissed you.
And as he's sort of back and forth rocking, he is in far too much pain to be kind of thinking.
I'm just going to say the word Mendoza.
And he kind of looks at you, and he pays more attention to you at this point. He doesn't sort of confirm, but he looks at you, and you know, at this point he's in so much pain, blood is running down his chest. You've kind of gone straight through his shirt. His eyes are sort of watering with tears, but he still manages to stare at you.
I'm gonna start praying then.
Please, Smith, knock him out.
What would that roll be?
So so you're going to do an attack, but you're just not going to do damage. You're just
So it's fighting.
control.
roll.
Yeah, fighting roll.
Miss, crit, miss, crit.
It's just smack
It
dead.
just-
So is that the fighting one?
Yeah, just do unarmed. If you scroll all the way down to weapons and roll.
All right, yeah.
Okay.
Holy shit!
Boom. Okay. So with a solid and very tactical, you full on knock him in the back of the head, and immediately he just goes limp.
Do you mean just? That's an infinity crit right there.
At which point in time doesn't like Jax? You started praying, right?
Oh yeah, I'm trying to close his eyes, and I'm basically assuming he's dead.
I grabbed the letter opener off you, and I literally stabbed for this thing.
Okay.
I don't know what role that's going to be. I would like to make it biology, but it's probably not going to be biology.
Surgery is medicine.
What? Just describe in detail exactly what you're trying to do, because then I'll decide if it's one or the other.
Just drudging where it's kind of going.
Yeah.
I just stab in front of it and try and flick it out if I can.
Right. That's
Have you never been in a situation where you have to immediately deal with something, boys? Leg trapped in a trap. There's something coming for you. You never had to.
Why are you explaining it?
I think just because of the pure difficulty and to not hurt him, it's still going to have to be like a first aid roll for you.
Fingers crossed, boys.
No.
I think I just stabbed him to death, didn't I?
He's been stabbed 3 times and punched in the head.
Yeah.
Tactically punched in the head.
He's kind of like, you can't tell what's happening because he is already limp, but you've made another sort of incision into him. Not necessarily too deep, because you're not necessarily trying, but still, it bleeds a lot.
Oh shit, boys! This isn't
We're
like it
so
was
going
back
to
out.
prison.
This isn't what it was. I'm trying to save you, boy.
I am stood back, just trying to not do anything to make this situation worse. I have nothing. I have no skills in this area whatsoever. I could look through his desk and rearrange his personal library if you want. I'm really good at that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm
Jacob even roll. He's terrible at this.
So, let me think. Jax, I'll let you take one last hard medicine roll for trying over the next hour.
Alright, okay. Behold the trauma doc.
Gotta kill him. You need to kill him.
He's dead, right? He's dead. He's
Okay.
dead, Dave. Everybody's dead.
That took an hour to do, carry on, doing stuff.
Keep
with
trying, yeah.
that. While that's happening, can we at least go and get other people to notice that we're not just murdering him?
While this is going on, then I'll go and call the police and I'll try and get somebody to do it. And
Okay.
yeah.
So, he does not regain consciousness in that time. Eventually, people come and help take him away, equally as horrified, but they take him away to sort of the local hospital, and you are left in his office, covered in blood. All of you, please make a sanity roll, please. As you've just
I'm gonna
seen.
pass this one.
Boom.
Fine. Fine with it.
Ah.
Hey.
Can I? No, there's no point in me doing that. I was going to be like, can I help anybody by literally regaling them with a tale of how you just have to survive in some situations like this, and sometimes you do just have to cut off the limb to survive.
The limb being his entire body.
That's right. Oh, that didn't work. Okay, so you both take 1 sanity each penalty. Take that off your total. And at that point, my boys, as it is 25 past 10, we will end tonight.
Wonderful.